Hello. Are you ready to embark on a journey into the depths of the universe? In the mysterious world of ancient Greece, we will meet a brave philosopher who tried to unravel the secrets of the universe. Anaximander. So, what is the Apeiron? And how is it that a thinker who lived thousands of years ago continues to influence philosophy and science even today? If you too are curious about the origins of the universe, the mysteries of nature, and the evolution of human thought, you will find the answers you seek in this video. Let's step into the world of Anaximander together. Anaximander is one of the leading thinkers of the Milesian school, thus in ancient Greece. He lived between 610 BCE and 546 BCE and was born in the city of Miletus, located in western Anatolia, in ancient Greece. It is believed that he was a student of Thales, the founder of the Milesian school. Like his teacher Thales, Anaximander tried to understand the workings of the universe by observing natural phenomena, but he secured an important place in the history of philosophy with his own original ideas. One of his significant philosophical contributions is the concept of Apeiron, which he developed as the first principle of the universe. A notable quote attributed to Anaximander regarding this concept is, "Things wrong each other over time, and for this reason, the infinite balances these injustices." This statement summarizes his efforts to explain how opposites in nature are balanced and how the order of the universe is maintained. Apeiron is an unlimited and indefinite principle. Everything that exists in the universe originates from it and eventually returns to it. Anaximander was a natural philosopher who, in addition to philosophy, also conducted studies in fields such as astronomy and geography. He is known as the first person to draw a map of the world, and he also studied time and the sky using observational tools like the sundial. This scientific approach is based on the idea that natural phenomena are regular and can be explained by laws. Anaximander's ideas were influenced by his teacher Thales' thoughts, but over time, he diverged from them. While Thales considered water to be the fundamental substance of the universe, Anaximander thought this explanation was insufficient and began searching for a more abstract principle. As a result of this search, he argued that the universe does not originate from a specific substance, but from an unlimited and indefinite principle he called Apeiron. Anaximander's following words show how he diverged from Thales. Everything comes from the unlimited, because it is the source of everything, and everything returns to it. Instead of Thales' philosophy based on a concrete substance, Anaximander developed a more metaphysical approach. The abstract nature of the Apeiron also brought with it the idea that the universe operates through a balance between opposites. This idea was a step toward explaining the fundamental order and universal laws underlying the changes in nature. Anaximander continued the tradition of natural explanations, initiated by Thales, but by expanding these explanations with an abstract principle, he secured a unique place in the history of philosophy. The most fundamental concept in Anaximander's philosophy, the Apeiron, is usually translated into Turkish as infinite or boundless. However, at this point, there is an important difference between these two concepts. When we talk about infinity today, we think of something, like time or space, that has no beginning or end, and extends without limits. However, in Anaximander's time, the concept of infinity had not developed in this way. The Apeiron, as used in Anaximander's philosophy, should be understood more in the sense of boundless. The boundless nature of the Apeiron refers to a principle that has no specific limit, edge, or corner, an endless entity. For example, if we consider the surface of a sphere, this surface has no end or corner. However, the entire surface has a definite structure and continues without limit. The surface of a sphere is not like the boundaries of a triangle. A triangle has corners and definite boundaries, but wherever you go on the surface of a sphere, it envelops you in an unlimited way. The Apeiron proposed by Anaximander also points to this kind of boundlessness. The fundamental substance or principle of the universe does not have a specific form or shape. It is neither a liquid like water nor a gas like air. At the same time, this principle has no end. That is why the Apeiron is a principle that has no definite boundaries and exists in a constant state of becoming and transformation over time. The concept of infinity should not be understood in its modern sense. In the intellectual world of that era, the idea that something exists beyond boundaries and has no definite end was expressed as boundlessness. The limitless nature of the Apeiron also implies a cyclical order, in which everything in the universe emerges from it and eventually returns to it. For this reason, the Apeiron should be understood not as a specific object or element, but as a fundamental principle from which all beings are born, develop, and ultimately return. Anaximander tries to explain why material things in the universe have an end and why they are in a state of constant change through this boundless principle. This concept of boundlessness also explains how opposites in the universe come together and how they balance each other out. For example, opposites such as hot and cold, or life and death, emerge from the Apeiron, and in time, return to it again. In this way, all the phenomena we encounter in nature are temporary elements that exist within the boundless structure of the Apeiron. Another important topic in Anaximander's philosophy is his views on the structure of the world and the order of the universe. Anaximander claims that the Earth stands fixed at the center of the universe. Interestingly, the explanation he offers for this stability differs from the mythological narratives of his time. According to him, the Earth remains in the universe without any support or foundation. This is because there is no place around the Earth that is farther away than any other. This idea reveals the notion that the universe has a balanced structure, and that this balance is related to the order of all beings. Anaximander also proposed that the Earth has a cylindrical shape and is located at the center of the universe. Contrary to the common belief of his time that there was a single cosmic layer surrounding the Earth, he thought that celestial bodies moved at different distances and on different planes. It can be said that the infinite nature of the Apeiron is also influential behind this cosmological order. Everything exists in a state of balance and order, and moves with the limitless power that comes from the Apeiron. Anaximander's cosmological ideas aim not only to explain the structure of the Earth, but also the movements of celestial bodies and the order of the universe. In his view, the universe, although in a state of constant change and transformation, contains a kind of order and laws behind it. These laws are a cyclical process that ensures everything in the universe is born from the Apeiron and eventually returns to it. Anaximander's philosophy is also notable for distancing natural phenomena from mythological explanations and placing them within a rational framework. He believed that everything in nature operates according to specific natural laws. Natural events are not explained by divine interventions. Instead, they become understandable through observation and reasoning. For example, lightning, winds, and other weather events are formed by the interaction of forces within nature. This view of nature marks a departure from the mythological explanations of the time and shows that the first seeds of scientific thought were being sown. Anaximander laid the foundations of natural philosophy with his rational explanations of how nature operates. According to him, every event in the universe is based on a cause, and these causes can be discovered through observation. Natural events do not occur randomly, but within the framework of certain laws. This idea also forms the basis for later philosophical and scientific developments. Anaximander's philosophy is not limited only to the structure of the universe and natural phenomena. It also contains important ideas about the origin of life and the evolution of living beings. According to him, life emerged in connection with water. Anaximander suggested that the first living beings were creatures living in water, and that over time they came onto land and transformed into their present forms. This idea can be seen as one of the earliest examples of modern biology and evolutionary theory. Anaximander's view includes the notion that living beings undergo change and evolve over time. The origin of all living beings, including humans, comes from water, and over time they change and adapt to terrestrial life. This idea represents a perspective in which the first foundations of evolution were laid.
One of Anaximander's most important contributions is the concept of Apeiron, that he introduced to natural philosophy. This concept has become one of the main axes of philosophical discussions about the foundations of nature and the universe. Anaximander points to a reality beyond the material world by proposing that there is an infinite principle underlying all opposites and changes in nature. This idea opened the door to metaphysical discussions for later philosophers.
Although Anaximander's concept of the Apeiron was not directly addressed by philosophers such as Plato and Aristotle, it indirectly influenced their understanding of the first cause, or form, underlying the universe. Plato's world of ideas and Aristotle's concept of the first cause can be considered more developed versions of Anaximander's notion of an abstract principle. In this context, Anaximander laid an important foundation not only for the Milesian school, but also for the overall development of Western philosophy. In addition to philosophy, Anaximander also made significant contributions to science. His work, especially in the fields of astronomy and geography, is considered one of the first steps in laying the foundations of scientific thought in ancient Greece. Anaximander was one of the first people to draw a map of the world. His geographical observations and studies on settlements around the world formed the basis for later cartographic work. In the field of astronomy, Anaximander observed the regular movement of celestial bodies and proposed that the Earth had a cylindrical shape. Anaximander's explanations regarding the movement of celestial bodies and the Earth's position in the universe played an important role in the development of scientific thought in ancient Greece. His attempt to derive laws by observing nature is considered one of the most important steps in the transition from natural philosophy to science. Anaximander's philosophy also had a great influence on his student, Anaximenes. Anaximenes took up Anaximander's concept of the Apeiron, but opposed his idea of abstract infinity and, instead, sought a more concrete principle. Anaximenes proposed air as the fundamental substance of the universe. Since air exists, both in an abstract and a concrete form, Anaximenes offered a solution that was closer to Anaximander's infinite principle, but more tangible. This relationship between Anaximander and Anaximenes is significant in terms of the intellectual evolution of the Milesian school. The tradition of explaining things through concrete substances, which began with Thales, turned into an abstract principle with Anaximander, while Anaximenes offered a philosophical solution by striking a balance between these two approaches.
Anaximander holds a unique place in the history of philosophy, both for his ideas and his scientific approaches. In particular, by introducing the concept of Apeiron, he developed one of the first metaphysical ideas in natural philosophy that went beyond the boundaries of the material world. His philosophy, built upon the notions of infinity and indeterminacy, demonstrated that it is possible to generate ideas about the explanation of the universe without relying on concrete substances. This is considered one of the earliest examples of philosophical thought turning toward the abstract concepts.
Another originality of Anaximander is his idea of the balance of opposites in the universe and the concept of cyclical change. At the center of his cosmological understanding lies the idea that everything in nature has a specific opposite, and that these opposites transform into one another over time, returning to the Apeiron when they can no longer sustain their existence. This is an early conception of natural laws, arguing that nature is in a state of constant change, and that there is a law of balance underlying these changes. Anaximander's original perspective on the universe has left an important legacy, not only in natural philosophy, but also in metaphysical and ontological debates. His attempt to explain the workings of nature through a universal and abstract principle laid the groundwork for the metaphysical inquiries of later philosophers. Anaximander's ideas have also resonated in modern science and philosophy. In particular, his thoughts on evolution and cosmology show that he produced ideas far ahead of his time. The theories he developed about the origin of living beings can be considered among the earliest examples of modern biology and evolutionary theory. His ideas that humans descended from fish-like creatures that emerged from water bear similarities to Darwin's theory of evolution today. For this reason, Anaximander's anticipation of an evolutionary process at such an early period reveals just how visionary a thinker he was. His work in astronomy and geography made significant contributions to science through his observations on the shape of the Earth and the movements of celestial bodies. Anaximander's ideas about cosmology can be considered one of the early steps toward modern scientific methodology. In a philosophical sense, Anaximander's idea of an abstract and boundless principle has led to ongoing debates in metaphysics and the philosophy of existence up to the present day. The notion of a principle underlying everything in nature, unobservable, yet whose existence is felt, is a significant problem that forms the foundation of metaphysical thought. Anaximander's ideas not only contributed to the development of classical philosophy, but also found a place in modern philosophical debates.
Anaximander's thoughts and his perspective on the universe deeply influenced not only his own era, but humanity throughout the ages. His concept of the Apeiron, the innovations he brought to cosmology, and his contributions to natural philosophy are still being discussed and studied today. If you enjoyed this journey and want to explore the depths of philosophy further, don't forget to like our video and subscribe to our channel. In future videos, we will continue to trace the footsteps of many more thinkers together. See you in the next exploration. Goodbye for now.